All right, so I'm not going to go too much into me, more so about us. So Hype Media is a digital and social media marketing agency, but we really focus on the social media part of it. Um, Hype was born in a really difficult time last year in the middle of a pandemic. We all know that was a crazy year. And my partner and I made the decision to split from our agency and go on our own. We knew there was a need. We knew businesses were struggling, and we knew that we had what it took to help them out. So in the past year, we've learned a lot about how the digital world has changed, and we've been able to help a lot of people navigate through it. We've run over 2,000 campaigns. We're certified in everything you can be certified in. And I only bring this up so that you guys can trust where I'm coming from when I talk for the next too long, I'm sure. So without further ado, true or false? Paid social is more important than ever before. And I'm sure you know the answer to that. It is 1000% true. And it is more true now than it's ever been. And the question that we have to ask ourselves is why? Why is it more important this year than it was last year or the year before? And the simple answer to that is the digital world has changed. The digital world has changed so much. And a lot of that came from this pandemic, unfortunately, but that does help you as a business and as marketers in terms of reaching your audiences. Some of the big things that changed, and a lot of the catalysts for this came from brick and mortar stores closing their doors. And whether or not that was because they just couldn't survive financially, it didn't make sense for them to keep their doors open and they transitioned to digital or fully online. Whatever their reason was, there was a huge increase in that, and that helped shape the digital world further. There was a huge surge in online shopping, and I'm sure you guys can all relate. I ordered a lot of groceries online in 2020. I ordered a lot of everything online in 2020. And with that came a massive increase in screen time. And with that came more social media than ever before. Everyone's on social media because everyone has something to say these days, right? So that's the place to go, and that's where you're going to find your consumers. The increase in screen time is really important for social. So I pulled these numbers just so you could take a look at how it's driven upwards in the last couple of years. And this number is frightening. I mean, 8 hours per day was a lot in 2018. It's still a lot. And 13 hours a day is, I mean, it's pretty off. I mean, it's a little terrifying. But when you think about how much time you're spending in front of your TV, you're on an app, on social media, working, all of those hours equate to a huge chunk of your time. So you have to imagine that your consumer is spending almost all of their awake time looking at some form of screen. So you need to take that, harvest that, and find your audience and get them where they are, which is online always. This fact I thought was interesting. While last year it was rough for a lot of businesses, COVID-19 related boosts in online shopping resulted in an additional $174.87 billion in e-commerce revenue. And if it wasn't for that bump in online sales, these businesses would have taken until 2022 to reach their goals, which says a lot about how far e-commerce has come just in the last year. Some general stats. I mean, I'm sure, I would hope, are all of you on Facebook? Raise your hand if you're on Facebook. Okay, good. There's 3.5 billion active social media users, and 54% of them are going to turn to social media to research your products and services, which means that your brand, your business has to have a presence. If they go looking for you and they can't find you on Facebook or Instagram or Google My Business, they're going to move right on from that, because in their mind, there's a million other businesses that do the same thing that you do that they can find where they are, which is on social, which is online. And in turn, 73% of marketers believe that social media has been somewhat or very effective for their business. So those numbers don't lie. That's a huge number, 73%. So if you're not part of that percentage that's taking advantage of social media, you're missing a huge opportunity, huge opportunity. 71% of consumers who have had a positive experience with a brand on social are likely to recommend the brand to families and friends. It's word of mouth marketing. That's how it works. So if you are not maintaining your social presence and you're not putting the amount of time that it needs and it deserves, You're going to find people aren't recommending you. If you're not responding to comments and engaging with your followers or engaging with your potential customers, they're going to find someone who is. And I get a lot of people saying they don't have the time for it or they don't have the budget for it. And I promise you, you can make the time, and I promise you, you have the budget for it. And I'll go a little bit deeper into budgeting a little bit down the line. So let's talk about what this means for social, what it means for social. First things first, I want to talk about transparency. So in terms of transparency in the last, I'm going to say 2 years is when it really started coming to light. Consumers felt, I want to say, taken advantage of. They felt that marketing was really invasive. So all of these lawsuits and privacy laws were passed, which was really, really scary for digital marketers. It was changing the way that we reached customers, and it was giving other competitors and customers insight into your tactics. But this is important on both sides. So I pulled up the first ad that I saw when I went to my Facebook page. And on my newsfeed, you'll always be able to tell, what's sponsored, which is versus what's just a regular post. So sponsored post means there's money behind it. It was either boosted or it was run as a legitimate ad through Ads Manager. Now, this is a feature that's been around for a couple of years, but most people don't know it exists. If you see an ad and you click on that top right, those 3 little dots, you're going to get this drop down, and you're going to see something that says, why am I seeing this ad? So it's going to pop up with something like this. And this is going to be important in understanding why you see the ads you see and how consumers see why and how you're targeting them. So for this example, BarkBox, I have a dog. They know I have a dog. And the way that they're targeting is based on people who have similar attributes to their customers. They're also reaching a certain age demo and a certain location. Had they taken out that first line that says BarkBox wants to reach people who may be similar to their customers, they'd just be targeting the whole United States 21 plus. And there'd be a huge percentage of people who that ad was not relevant to. And now customers, they get the opportunity to hide this ad. So had BarkBox presented me with an ad for cats or something that wasn't relevant to me, I could easily go in and just hide all ads from this advertiser moving forward. And that doesn't mean that they wouldn't have had a product I liked, but I didn't see it and I didn't want to see stuff that was irrelevant to me. So now they won't have the opportunity to reach me again, which is a big deal. So you think about making mistakes when it comes to targeting and how detrimental that can be to your business. Now consumers can say, fine, I don't like your product, it's not relevant, bye. And now you just lost that customer forever. They're not going to come back. They're not going to remember to unblock you down the road if they find out more about you. So you need to really put thought into who you're reaching and with what message. You don't want to end up in that boat where you're blocked. This more about transparency and from both ends of the spectrum and why it's important. It's transparency for the consumer and it's insight for you into your competition. So say you have a competitor that is just, they're killing it on social or they're killing it in general. And what are they doing? You don't know. In the past, you could only see what was presented to you on TV or radio or digital. Now, in every Facebook business page, it's hidden a little bit, but if you're on desktop, you're going to see it on the left-hand column, and it's going to say page transparency. When you click that, because of everything that's happened in the past with privacy laws, you can now see the ads they're running. So you get that really, really valuable insight into what your competitors are doing, and it's detailed. So you can see what works for them and apply it to yourself. Don't go and copy what they're doing, but learn from it. You should constantly be looking at your competitors. It's huge. I do it. We do it all the time. So this is what their ad library would have consisted of. It would have been all of the ads that they're currently running. You can drill down and see what their targeting is. You can't go all the way, but you can get enough insight to learn a little bit about their strategy and how to adapt and learn. So that's that. And why all of that overall is important to paid social is because now with such a minimal budget, you can amplify your reach. You can reach the people that you would have seen in your store or that you would have seen in person or that you would never have reached. And you can do it for any dollar amount. And that's a huge hurdle for a lot of people that we talk to, is that we just don't have the budget. And my response to that is, do you order a pizza once a week? Do you get coffee? And I know a lot of people say just cut one coffee out of the day and you can use that money for something else. That money could be used for social, because a $50 budget is more than nothing. It's better than nothing, like that's reaching $50 might reach a few thousand people that would have otherwise not seen you. So the excuse of not having the budget, just I won't ever accept that. We can always make it work. You can always find a few dollars. You can cut corners somewhere else that's not needed, but it's so important that you allocate even just the tiniest bit to social, because you will see that growth and you will see that return on ad spend, and you'll realize that you've always had the budget for it. Paid social in 2021, enhance your targeting. You're going to be able to reach people, really, really drill down into the people that are seeing your ads. You don't need to waste dollars on people who aren't interested, and it'll boost your brand awareness, and it'll allow you to gather insights into your audience, which is huge when it comes to messaging and tone and finding the right people for your business. So finding your following and what works for them is massive. So do your homework when it comes to your audience. Really understand them, understand what makes them tick, what they're looking for. Really drill down into the demographics, their income, their behaviors online, and all of this data is available, and I'll explain that also in a little bit. And then really research where to find them. If your demographic is young, if you've got an 18 to 24-year-old demo, LinkedIn's not going to be the place to advertise. Instagram, sure. Twitter, maybe. TikTok, I'm sure. But know where they are, because hitting them on the places that they spend the littlest amount of time is not going to benefit you. So do your homework. All of this information is available online. I mean, you can research. Google is beautiful. You can research anything about your audience. And even the tools that Facebook or Instagram provides on platform is going to give you insight into where they're spending the most time, breaking it down to, most people are spending time on their phone from 5 to 8 p.m. on Instagram. Great. So that's when you want to be there. So do your homework, really, really understand where your audience is and understand what to say to them, because BarkBox did a great job finding me. But again, if that messaging had been different, or that ad copy or image was different, they would have lost me. And it's such a quick lose when you do things like that. So really, really drill down into who your audience is and where to find them. Native tools on Facebook like this. This is available to anybody who has a Facebook business page. And that's going to break down, again, the demo, location, time spent on device, all of those wonderful things. And there are a million third-party data tools that you can get for free or very, very minimal cost that's going to drill way deeper than that. I'm going to go back here, actually. You can also, we're partnered with some really big data providers. So back in, I think it was 2018, it used to be that Facebook would allow advertisers to use their third-party data. So incorporating it into your campaign, you could target based on income, you could target based on credit score. I mean, you could go really, really deep. And as invasive as that was, it was really helpful for marketers when it came to fine-tuning their audiences. That got taken away. That got stripped from Facebook. Facebook said, it's too much of a liability. We're getting sued left and right. We're not going to give that to you guys anymore, which was a disaster for a while. Nobody knew how to get around it. It was a lot of people doing what we call spray and pray and just hitting everybody. And I always say, if you spray and pray and you hit everybody, yeah, you probably will get a few sales. But if you hit 1 million people and you get 10 sales, you just wasted that 999,000 other, impressions. So don't waste your impressions in hopes that you're gonna hit at least a couple people that want your product. It's not worth it. It's just not worth it. There's so many creative ways that you can get around that, even if you don't want to purchase third-party data. And as far as this I brought up, this is newer. Soon your iPhone will be a battlefield, the clash between Apple and Facebook. There has been some big changes that Apple put out regarding their privacy updates. It's going back to transparency and giving consumers more control over how their data is handled. So when you used to be able to target people on apps and collect information about their behaviors on that app, Apple's cutting those ties. So you have to adjust, because these things are going to continue to happen. And I don't anticipate this being the last change like this that happens with Facebook. I think it's just the beginning. But you can adapt. You can always adapt, and there's always a way around it. So it's just a matter of really understanding that this is not the end of anything. And while people are freaking out, I mean, advertisers are running around in circles right now trying to figure out how they can surpass this change. But it is possible. Just do your homework, or hire someone that knows what they're doing, or someone that you trust. Situations like the Facebook pixel. A lot of people don't utilize this. And how many of you guys have heard of the pixel? Let's get a hand raise. No. No? All right. Okay. The Facebook pixel is a piece of code that you generate within the Facebook platform. And you take this piece of code and you embed it on the back end of your website. So this piece of code is a direct connection between your website and Facebook. It's going to track how people behave on your site, what pages they visit. It's going to allow you to retarget those people and optimize your ads in a really efficient way. So I'm sure you guys have experienced something where you've been on, let's just say, jcrew.com. You went to jcrew.com, and the next day you got an ad for jcrew. That's the Facebook pixel in action. It gathered that you were on that site, and then when you told Facebook, hey, I want to reach those people who were engaging with this page on my website, or the people who submitted a form on this page of the website. Now you can take that audience and match it back to Facebook users automatically. And then you can hit them with a, hey, I know that you were shopping. Did you forget to get something? Here's a special offer. It's your second chance. It's your second, third, fourth, and fifth chance. And to not use it, it's insane. It's insane. Everybody who's advertising on Facebook or any of the social platforms needs to have some kind of pixel. And each platform has their own version of it. LinkedIn has one. I mean, Twitter has one. No matter what platform you are, there's going to be some form of tracking pixel that you can install on your site. And it's super, super easy. You don't have to be a web developer. You can do it through things like Google Tag Manager. It sounds more difficult than it is, but it's not. It's not. So the pixel is going to allow you, again, measure cross-device conversions, optimize delivery to people likely to take action. So you set up things called conversions on your site. So if somebody, say you have an e-commerce store and somebody was adding products to their cart and then they left, you're going to tell Facebook, hey, I want to reach those people who never finalized the sale. Maybe it was a matter of pricing. Maybe shipping was too high. Let's figure out if we can get them another way. So again, that's your second chance, and you don't want to miss that. And you want to be really top of mind when it comes to retargeting. You don't want too much time to go by where they forgot that they even saw something. Preferably want to hit them within the first few days of that. But it'll also allow you to create custom audiences from those behaviors on the website and all of those visits. And learning about your website traffic is really important on multiple levels. But if you're seeing that, this goes in hand with Google Analytics, if you're seeing that people are coming to your site and then they're leaving very quickly, why is that? Is it because they had nowhere to go? Is it because your site wasn't easily navigated? Is it because the information they were looking for wasn't there? So you need to take all of that data and mix it together and figure out what's going on and how you can optimize that experience that on your website, because it's huge. Again, consumers have the attention span of a goldfish in 2021. You have very, very little time to capture and keep their attention. So making sure that you're doing everything possible to keep that is really, really important. All right. And these are just a few of the audiences that you can build off of a pixel. So customer, we're going to go to website. So website, we already covered. Things like a lead form. Now this is for this pixel and not pixel. These are all called custom audiences. So they're not all related to the pixel, but they're all a form of custom audiences. For things like video, if you had a video on your Facebook page, or you ran a video in the past as an ad, you can target people who viewed X percentage of it. So you want to hit everyone who watched at least half of it, or at least 25% of it, and hit them with something else with another ad down the line. If you have a customer list, and this is huge, if you have collected customer information via maybe email signups or events or just your previous customers, and you have some kind of CRM that's keeping all of that information. Take those lists. You're going to hash out the data a little bit, make it a little bit cleaner. It's not hard. And then you're going to upload it to Facebook. And Facebook's going to match back those users, and you can use it to create a lookalike audience. So create an audience that mirrors that customer list in the way that in their attributes and behaviors. And Facebook's going to do that work for you. And then you'll use that list to target individuals moving forward. You can target people based on events. So if you do events like this one and people are RSVPing or have gone to them in the past, you can take those people who have gone to past events and now you can retarget them with the next event, or again, make a lookalike audience based off of your past attendees. There's all sorts of ways that you can utilize custom audiences, and you really must. Otherwise, you're going to be in that same boat where you're hitting everybody and you're not really thinking too deep into who's seeing what. And you don't want that. We don't want wasted ad dollars in 2021. This is, you can see our pixel right here. So when we're building an ad and we want to build based off of a pixel, we'd select the pixel we wanted to use. So if we had multiple pixels on multiple different websites, we'd want the ones that went to our website. So we want the ones that were on our contact page or that were looking at our services. And again, we'd build it out. Either we want 30 days, we want to do 120 days worth of people on our website. You can really drill down on that as well. So you don't have to be, depending on your conversion window and how long your average customer spends before they make a sale, before they make a purchase, then you're going to say, all right, I want to go back 60 days, because 60 days is the normal time frame that customers are debating on whether or not to buy our service. So you can fine tune that depending on your business and your goals. All very easy once you get in there. And then custom, we just went over this, but this again is a lookalike audience and what it would look like when you uploaded one. So you would upload your file and then you would match back to Facebook would match back to other users. And you can go down and you can tell Facebook, I want to get as close to possible to this audience. I want you to create me an audience that is really close in terms of their behaviors. Or you can go a little bit further out and say, I want a few things matched, but it doesn't need to be entirely the same. So that's going to determine how big your audience is or how small it is, depending on what your goal is. All right, let's get out of there. Engagement targeting. So again, that would be people who engage with a video or engaged with your Facebook page in any way. Maybe you have a really great following and a lot of engagement, a lot of likes and comments and shares. You can target those people again with ads, not just posting on your Facebook, but hit them with an ad, with an offer that they'll want to see. And that's something that you can do right on the platform as well. I mean, as far as the data goes on your business page, it's at your disposal, and it's a waste not to use it because it's all sitting there and it's all waiting for you. And it's just a matter of knowing it exists. So you can go as far as engagement, even deeper. I mean, you can go people who submitted lead forms or people who messaged you, people who engaged with what we call an instant experience, which is a more interactive form of an ad. And again, you're continuing to build a brand awareness and continuing to build this relationship with them. And it's really important that you stay top of mind. So that's where retargeting and these custom audiences they're irreplaceable in your marketing strategy. So make sure you're doing them. Make sure you're doing them. I know this was a big question all of you guys were asking about before when you signed up. So increasing return on investment. All right. So with this, I want to remind you that every industry is different, and you have to be researching constantly your industry, because the return on ad spend, it differs. The benchmarks are completely different across the board. So if you had a conversation with another business owner friend of yours and they're saying, I'm seeing 10, 15 times return on ad spend, and you're only getting 5, doesn't mean you're doing a bad job or your ads aren't performing. It's just your industry has a different benchmark. So don't beat yourself up for not seeing those huge returns. Just make sure that you're in line with what the industry standards are. And that information totally available online, constantly updating that. So that's that. And now these are a few ways to increase your return on ad spend. Creating a marketing funnel is super important in that the customer the customer journey is it's not always short. Sometimes it's drawn out. So making sure that you're first building awareness. So you're going to start at the top, you're going to build awareness, and you're going to move down into the next phase, which we call consideration. So now the customer knows who you are. You've built that rapport. You hit them with some ads that were really more tuned to who you are and what your company offers. Then you're going to say, all right, you know who we are. Here's what we offer and why you should buy it, or why you should join us in whatever your venture is. And then after that, after you've hit that level of the funnel, you're going to go to conversions, which is going to be where you make the sale, where you present them with an offer, and mixing up those stages of the funnel. It can be done. I mean, there's exceptions. There's certain businesses that don't necessarily need to go through all of those phases. I mean, if you're a pizza restaurant and you opened up in a local town, your demographic is huge. I mean, you can target pizza lovers, but it's silly. You want everyone to see your product, so you can probably skip a few different steps to get there. But for the most part, keeping that funnel for your business model is really, really important. Running dynamic ads, if you have inventory, these dynamic ads, for an example, is say you were a jeweler or a car dealership, and you had multiple items in your inventory, you had a catalog of items. You can run dynamic ads that are constantly diving into your inventory and building ads based on those products. You'll have to do something called a product catalog on Facebook, which is going to be where you upload or link your inventory to the back end of Facebook. And that's going to allow Facebook to keep your ads fresh, changing, relevant. You set them up so that if somebody's on your page looking for a new Ford Escape, say you sell Fords, when they see the ad, their ad is going to be Ford Escapes. And that's not, you don't have to create 10,000 different versions of ads. The ads, it's smart, it's dynamic, and it's going to continue to change with the person seeing it. So the ad that you see, I probably won't see. Make sure your ad solves your audience's problem. Again, if I was hit with an ad for a cat product, I was out. That's not solving my problem. My dog needs dog bones and treats, not catnip. So it's just keep that in the back of your mind, that your product, your service is solving a problem, and remember that problem. Remember that problem differs from person to person. Use click to messenger ads. We highly recommend this, but only if you have the manpower and the time to dedicate to it. The last thing that you want is to send people to a messenger where they're not being responded to. That's so, it's very painful to watch that happen. So if you have the ability to respond to these messages, by all means, you should 100% be doing it. And if you don't have the time, there are so many services out there or agencies that will handle your messages. People love that one-on-one personal touch of a message, and the conversion rates and return on ad spend with those types of ads are huge, because there's a lot of robo chats going on. So when you're talking to a real person and you feel like you're connecting with a company on that level, you're much more likely to stick with them. We've killed this line, understand your target audience. You guys know you have to do that. Understand which ad formats suits your audience. There's so many different ways to build social media ads, so many different types of content you can use and formats. Each platform has its own requirements and options that you can use as an advertiser. But also understanding which ad formats like genuinely engage your customer. So video is king on social, but there's an older demographic that doesn't like video so much. They want to see black and white text. They don't want to see all the fluff, and they don't want to watch a video. So understanding what types of ads your audience likes is going to be really important when it comes to conversions and engagements. Testing, and more testing. There is never enough testing when it comes to paid social. Test your creative, test your ad copy, test your placements, test your audiences. I mean, just keep on testing, because you're going to find the perfect equation that makes your life so much easier and really, really boosts your return on ad spend. Simple things like sending your customers a thank you email and asking them for follows or reviews, really, really, really important. Building that trust and building your reviews, really building your reviews is huge. Retarget your audience. We did that. Monitor and track your data. Don't miss out on this. There's so much to be learned in the results of your campaigns. It's never ending. You can study that every day and still not know everything. So just keep an eye on it, understand it. If you're working with another agency, make sure that they explain it to you, because they're not going to, most likely. They're just going to give you the really top of the line results and what worked and what didn't. Say you want to see it. It's your data. You own it. If it's your ads, you own that data. So don't accept no as an answer. Day parting, and also going along with scheduling. If you have a business that runs during certain hours, and you're running ads, you want to make sure that you're not sending people to a phone or a phone number that isn't on or isn't being answered. You can schedule your ads in certain days, on certain times, during only your business hours. So these are features that don't get used very much, and they should. And sometimes they're relevant, sometimes they're not. But if your business operates during certain hours and you really want to make sure that your customers are reaching you when you're open, then make sure that's a feature that you incorporate. Lookalike audiences, we did that. Capturing leads. There's different formats to do this. You can send traffic to a landing page. You can build what Facebook has is an on-site lead form. And with that, it's great because it autofills. So it populates the information from a Facebook user's profile. So it keeps them right on Facebook. They don't have to leave the platform. As soon as they click get quote or get offer, a form's going to pop up that's going to pull the information from their page. And then boom, now you have a lead. You have a solid lead that you can work with. And just making sure that you were in front of the right audience to begin with was important. But now that you have them, you can finesse, make the sale, nurture them. And that's it. Find out your best performing ads goes back to monitoring your data. But if you're keeping a close eye on your results and on your data, if you've got an ad that's kicking butt, roll with it. Make sure that it's getting enough budget. Make sure that it's being seen. Really capitalize on that. Add Facebook pixels to your toolkit. We did that. Optimize campaigns for conversion based. So for conversion, if you have the type of, say you have a website that you can make purchases on, or that you can join or get offers or downloads, you want to make sure that you set up conversions in Facebook as well. So you want to be able to track those actions and then optimize your further campaigns moving forward. So if you want to optimize for people to get a quote, or if you want to optimize for a hard sale or a purchase or a phone call, these are all options on Facebook. So you want to make sure that you're taking advantage of that as well. So setting up conversion tracking and setting up conversion campaigns is going to help you to really get that action, whatever that action is. So a sale, a contact, a join, or a download, whatever action is most valuable to you is going to be what you're going to set up your conversion campaign. But you will need to collect some information before you do that. So installing that Facebook pixel is going to allow you to collect enough data to optimize campaigns moving forward. So that's that.